The Yorkshire Wolds Way, 100 miles from Hessel to Filey in 5 days in October 2022. The official distance for this trail is 79 miles, but I always walk more due to gradient and diverting off the trail to see interesting things en route. Like my previous walks this year, I had the unspoilt and tranquil landscape of the gently rolling chalk hills of the picturesque Wolds pretty much all to myself. Here is my account of my 5 days of near solitude as I walked through quaint villages, deserted medieval settlements, secretive dry valleys, large country estates, and beautiful woodlands. Once again, the diversity and beauty of the British countryside impressed. I actually counted 90 different types of wildflowers still flowering and fruiting. Amazing that we have so much beauty in nature, even at this late stage of the year. I almost didn't do this trail because I thought it would be boring. Wrong again. It was delightful throughout, and I'm now converted. Day 1, Hessel to North Newbold, 22 miles. The marker at the start of the Yorkshire Wolds Way at Hessel Haven, just to the west of Hull, with the Humber Bridge in the background. The Humber Bridge, which is 1.5 miles long and is one of the world's longest single-span suspension bridges. Shameful. I was also amazed to learn that several major rivers flow into the Humber, including the Trent, the Don, the Aire, the Ouse and the Hull. Looking back at the Humber Bridge with red valerian in the foreground as I get stuck into my long walk. Red valerian is a popular garden plant and is sometimes confused with true valerian, which has nervine properties. Red valerian has no known medical properties. Welton and the Green Dragon Inn, which proudly boasts of having been a popular haunt for the infamous highwayman Dick Turpin. He was finally arrested there in 1739. St Helen's Church, Welton. The pulpit in St Helen's Church, Welton. On my way heading north from Welton. And a rather splendid boot scraper near Brantingham. Bench near Brantingham, and one example of the Acorn National Trail symbol, of which there are many on the trail. All Saints Church, Brantingham. I came across this poetry bench as I cruised past South Cave. It is one of 6 such benches placed at strategic locations along the trail as part of the Wonder Project. Each bench has been etched with the words of Scarborough poet John Wedgwood Clark. Hi there, I thought I left you lot behind on Glyndor's Way in Wales. I was fascinated by the mechanics of this gate near South Cave. Never seen one like that before. I walked through my first dales around Brantingham: Welton Dale, Ellerton Dale, Brantingham Dale, Woo Dale, Coomer Dale and Hunsley Dale. But because it was pouring with rain and they were wooded for the most part, I didn't take any photos of them. Here is a photo of me looking slightly knackered at the end of my first very long day in what felt like my first real dale, Swindale, on the approach to North Newbold. At this point I was weighing up whether or not I was going to take a short cut through the woods on the left up ahead to North Newbold. In the end I decided to be a purist and stick to the actual trail. North Newbold in the pouring rain at the end of my first day. Day 2, North Newbold to Millington, 18.5 miles. This trig point on the high ground just outside North Newbold has been adopted by a local walking group. Apparently, trig points are now more or less redundant due to new technologies. Another Acorn National Trail marker. And the Fiddle Drill Cafe in Goodmanham was a very welcome break during what turned out to be a very wet day. All Saints Church, Goodmanham. Apparently it was constructed in 1130 on the site of a demolished pagan temple with a simple nave and chancel, and it is a fine example of an early Norman period church. Annoyingly, it was locked, so I was unable to get inside it. This rubbish bin just outside Goodmanham rather appealed to my sense of humour. And climbing upwards and heading north from Goodmanham. Lonsborough Park, one of 6 large estates on the trail. Lonsborough Park in heavy rain. All Saints Church, Lonsborough. I had a very inspiring chat in the pouring rain with an 82-year-old man who was lamenting the fact that he could no longer manage walks that were more than 12 miles. I told him that I would be very happy if I could still do such distances when I reached that age. I then went and had my lunch in the porch of the church. Further down the trail, I came to St James's Church in Numburnham, which was very interesting for several reasons, as you will see from the next few photos. Just look at the lovely depictions of birds around this information sign. They are from A History of British Birds, which was written by the Reverend Francis Orpen Morris, who was the rector of the church in the 19th century and a well-known naturalist. His work led to the establishment of the RSPB. Anglo-Saxon Viking Cross in Numburnham Church. Information about the Pilgrimage of Grace Heritage Trail as I got closer to Millington. An interesting piece of British history about a successful uprising against Henry VIII, of which I was previously completely ignorant. The rain had finally stopped, and I was able to see the fantastic views across the Vale of York and all the way to the Pennines in the far distance. Another poetry bench with a great view of Millington down in the valley where I stayed the night. Entering Millington, and no, I'm not planning to walk the Minster Way anytime soon. My B&B for the night, the Rambler's Rest in Millington. Only in the Yorkshire Wolds. Day 3, Millington to Thixondale, 15 miles. My breakfast room at the Rambler's Rest, where I met another amazing solo female walker from Bedfordshire. She was walking the trail in similar stages to me, and we actually ended up walking together for a 5-mile stretch the following day. It was great to have her company for some of the trail and exchange experiences. Finally, beautiful weather on what was the prettiest day of the whole walk. This photo shows Silvendale, just outside Millington. Frendall Dale on the approach to Huggate. Another poetry bench overlooking Horsedale between Hugate and Fridaythorpe. Home Dale. These dales were lovely to walk along. They felt very peaceful and protective, and I imagine that the chalky sides are covered in wild flowers during the spring and summer. Ascending from Home Dale to Fridaythorpe, and entertaining Weathervane in Fridaythorpe. St Mary's Church, Fridaythorpe, the highest village in the Yorkshire Wolds. Beautifully carved wood triptych in St Mary's Church, Fridaythorpe. The Norman doorway of St Mary's Church, Fridaythorpe. Westdale and Brubberdale between Fridaythorpe and Thixondale. Ascending Cowdale Leas between Fridaythorpe and Thixondale. Descending into Thixondale with the Time and Flow Maze by Chris Drury at the bottom with the junction with Wormdale. The Time and Flow artwork by a local artist, Chris Drury. Walking up Thixondale. Day 4, Thixondale to East Heslington, 21.6 miles. I experienced two extremes of weather on this day: torrential rain, hail and strong winds during the middle of the day, sandwiched between lovely sunny weather at the start and end of the day. Here I'm leaving Thixondale and starting a steep ascent as the sun rises. Deepdale. Deepdale, with the deserted medieval settlement of Warren Percy in the background. The ruined church at Warren Percy, said to be the most famous deserted medieval village in England. During its heyday in 1300, it had a population of around 200. Leaving the woods after one of the steepest climbs I have ever done, and after the rain stopped. The view here across the Vale of Pickering is staggering. This is a new art installation called Enclosure Rights, which is part of the Wonder Art on the Yorkshire Wolds project. The earthwork and posts make reference to Bronze Age burial mounds and palisaded enclosures found nearby. These carved figures, or guardians, refer to mysterious chalk figurines which are often found discarded in Iron Age settlements, particularly in eastern Yorkshire. Another poetry bench overlooking East Heslington, where I stayed for the night. It was a long descent and ascent. Day 5, East Heslington to Filey, 21.3 miles. View overlooking East Heslington and the Vale of Pickering, with the North York Moors behind. Blue tansy and mustard, which are often used as green manure, near Aylesbury. Blue tansy has antifungal, antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties. There were even a few poppies growing among the blue tansy and mustard. Beautiful autumn colours on this sycamore tree. The trail near Sherburn. Beautiful common mallow basking in the sunshine. Like all the plants in the mallow family, common mallow is a demulcent with anti-inflammatory, expectorant and astringent properties. The Church of St Nicholas in Ganton, a lovely lunch spot. beautiful stained glass window in Ganton Church. RAF Stagston Wold, a remote radar head, part of Britain's air defences. Another incredibly steep ascent leading up from Cottondale Slack. It was almost impossible to stand upright here, and I kept sliding backwards. Unfortunately, this photo doesn't show how steep it was. Ravendale and Campdale. The last dale on the trail, a wooded dale called Stockingdale. Beautiful beech tree in Stockingdale. End of my journey in Filey, with Filey Brig in the background. I didn't need to walk out to Filey Brig because I had already walked from the brig into Filey when I completed the Cleveland Way this summer. End of the Cleveland Way and the Yorkshire Wolds Way on Filey Brig. This was my final trail of the 15 national trails in England and Wales. Lessons learnt. I thought that the Yorkshire Wolds Way would be boring. It wasn't. As I get older, I seem to be able to walk longer daily distances. I average 20 miles per day on this walk. By the time we reach our 50s, our strength, balance and endurance are alleged to decline. Studies indicate that beyond the age of 35, endurance performance declines by about 5 to 15% per decade, while recovery time is supposed to take longer. However, as long as I do my stretching exercises at the end of each day of walking, I always bounce back full of beans the next day and am ready to go again. Am I wired differently, or just genetically blessed? Or have I slowly built up my stamina as a result of many years of long-distance walking and other exercise? The Yorkshire Wolds are formed by the northernmost extremity of one of the two continuous bands of chalk that run across the country from Dorset. One of these extends eastwards across the North and South Downs to Dover, while the other runs in a northeasterly direction through Wiltshire, Berkshire, the Chilterns and Norfolk, where it disappears under the Wash and resurfaces first in the Lincolnshire and then the Yorkshire Wolds, terminating at Bempton Cliffs and Flamborough Head near Filey. The characteristic dry valleys of the Yorkshire Wolds were formed during the last ice age and have remained dry because any precipitation falling is quickly absorbed by the underlying chalk. Any streams usually run beneath the surface and occasionally break through to the surface. They are then known as races.